Welcome to TradeTheNBA.com. This is John. This report is for the 3rd of December. Well, the excitement continues. We got to the 50% algo level. We had previously marked that one along with the 46.13 and bounced off it nicely. It was very popular for an institutional buy setup. What we're looking for was magenta rising above yellow, which in fact it did, but also magenta getting back above white is critical in that aspect. From a DOC standpoint, we just had rising steel, which is short-term buyers. They've been strong enough to at least hold this from a complete collapse, so to speak. And if we get orange dipping below steel, we would expect, I think, more of a rally, at least back over that 46.13 range and beyond. Still negative on the shakeout, and so those are a lot of the reasons why, from even back here, we were talking about across to weakness. Having the magenta back over really staves off some of the deep concerns. I mean, it happened similar over here right before we ended up. The problem with it is that, yes, pivot back below yellow at that particular stage with white leading is definitely going to lead to an exacerbated decline. So we'll keep an eye out for that. From a YM standpoint, much weaker, and that's just been reflective of the rotation that you see. Some areas are out of favor, particularly Dow components have not fared well in this situation. From an NQ standpoint, it's doing a whole lot better, never even got close to 50%, and rebounding modestly off that. It's actually reflecting more of a pivot, so it's interesting if we see NASDAQ weakness. Will it pull the S&P down? More likely going to be the case if it happens that way. And gold just unable to capture any. With gold unable to capture any excitement, and obviously it's filled back all the way through to the positive extreme that started its whole run, which literally was right back here. It's all that taken care of. It's just a matter of when it smooths out, and this is the variance and oil setup and that, all of that easing pressure of continued inflation, which is nonsense, but that's all right. From a euro standpoint, obviously, with a little short spike, we knew it wasn't going anywhere with the rising red NBI lead and then white taking over, and we would expect that to continue to the downside from a euro standpoint. And from oil, having filled back all and then some for its positive extremes going back here. We'll see if this is enough to really help abate the pressure for further upside. It's not going to lower anything, but the question becomes, additional economic slowdown is really what that's incumbent upon, because every time a variant or something like that's talked about, we see a significant reduction in GDP, which is an interesting phenomenon now, the fear factor, and it's something that I've always seen in economics is the talk of something can be even more contagious than the actual thing. Same with markets. You spook someone and things can move all sorts of directions. So far, we've had a bunch of just nonsense with Bitcoin here in this latest stages, sort of basing right along its 50% level at the daily. Needs to break above 57 for it to do anything. We're in a positive mode right here. Let's see if it's able to do anything special with that. ES E-mini from a 50K standpoint. Just a little bit. Got the nice basic buy configuration, a couple little awkward ones where we're in the buy configuration or shorted covering that, and then the long stops out even though it's still within the continuation. It was just one of those classic up, retrace up ABC moves on continuing rising. The DOC here is, you can see it's pretty clean, same with the shakeout. And then once we got started with the gold as well as Azure on the shakeout, it just continued to pull itself higher. It's very active from a 5K standpoint. We just had tons of action. But every time we ended up with positive extreme start, just mark those. They would continue at various spots. Not super strong when you only get a couple of them and then it fades off. That means those are usually pretty healthy and they don't fill as much as when you get to like where you have this series of them, which happened a little higher up here at the 39 level. It's a little bit more prominent, and then when you kind of spiked up, became good opportunities to start catching some fillbacks, and we had a bunch of areas where we popped up with red MBI above, just a continuation within those. But when we did get the sparks, they were strong. So it's one of those where you better have your stops in place, otherwise you're going to get run over, and you can get run over pretty quick. But again, producing just a series of positive extremes with the expectation that those fill back in this case back to 45.50, we had the divergence. Those moves continuing to the upside. It's pretty clean, and this is one of those ones I want you to pay attention to. It's like you had the white leading, okay, but the magenta stayed above and then moved actually above 33 and then stayed there, and then you get this extended period of no DOC, MBI white crossing. And so until it gets either really close to a crossing where you've got a strong DOC spread, where everything kind of converges, this is in what I would call strong. I would look for where I've got orange coming from underneath, crosses above, and steel crossing below, where you have that quad effect that tends to produce more. And you can see what it did. Yes, it still produces lower, but it's modest, and usually 50% target is usually reasonable, but it's choppy, and that's exactly what that was. There really was an uncertainty about the direction of the market, where it wanted to go, and I kind of just stayed that way throughout most of it until towards the end we ended up, and there's what I was talking about, the quad right here, where you have steel crosses down below, orange moves above, and DOC cyan and green rejection is strong and really healthy, and those usually give you bigger results. In this case, took another 50% back into the zero, and they rallied back up. Then, of course, after hours, almost filled all the way back to that 39 positive extreme from before, and that would have just taken care of everything. So that was just, I think, 5 cases of the new Omicron virus. So it's just an opportunity to clear positive extremes, fear factor. As always, though, I will continue to update you on Skype Chat. Trade well. We'll talk to you later.